Hey, this is Antonio. Welcome back to my channel. Now, who's ready for some fighting words? In this video, I want to do a fight breakdown for Stephen Fulton for his up-and-coming bout against Inoue. Really quick, if you're new to the channel, please take the time right now to subscribe to the channel if you have not already done so. It only takes one click. Also, if you could hit that thumbs up button, it really does help and support this channel. And really quick, if you're not really familiar how I do it, basically I just run down a list of all his character traits that, are positive and things that he's going to carry into the fight. And then I also break down certain things that I feel like that may worry me against his opponent. So without further ado, let's jump into this. First thing that you notice when you look at Stephen Fulton is great ring generalship, high boxing IQ, great ring control. He can fight at any range, it really doesn't matter, and he's great at dictating where the fight is going to be best for him. Not many guys can do this. Most guys kind of just wherever the fight happens is where the fight happens, but he's a real thinker, and he's truly playing chess in there. He's not playing checkers or anything like that. If he feels like he needs to get you over here, he knows how to do it. He's thinking a lot of steps ahead. And sometimes you'll see him just doing all these little feints and everything like that, even playing games with his opponents with the way he's flicking out a jab or something. But believe me, there is an end game and there's a reason for everything that he's doing. He has a great, great jab. He's not the heaviest handed person in the world. He's only got 8 knockouts out of 21 fights. So he is very jab heavy. I don't mind that. I actually love that he's jab heavy. I actually love that he actually utilizes his jab. Everything plays off the jab of Stephen Fulton. Everything. He sets off his shots, his combinations. He even counters with his jab. You don't see a whole lot of people countering with jabs. That should let you know the skill level that we're dealing with. If I could lead with a jab and then respond with that same jab while it's out there, that should let you know what type of intellect that we're dealing with when it comes to fighting. Very high boxing intellect. And like I said, if you're new to the channel and you never really heard my thoughts on a jab, I think it is a lost art. I feel like guys don't utilize the jab in which they should. And Stephen Fulton is a great throwback when it comes to using the weapon of the jab and setting things up, not just recklessly going in for the kill or anything like that, but understanding that everything has to have its proper timing and setup. Boxing is no different from any other sport. You have basketball, you circulate the ball, and then you shoot it. You have football, you have a quarterback, and you have a strategy. We already know once we get out of this huddle, who's getting the ball. We know which area and direction he's going to be throwing this thing for the most part. Boxing's no different, and that is the jab for boxing. It sets everything up. A huge weapon if used correctly. Let's see. Stephen Fulton is very, very, very creative. He's a creative dude. I think this is for a few reasons. One, he's not, like I said earlier, he's not the heaviest puncher in the world. He's not a very heavy-handed guy. So when you're not a heavy-handed guy, you have to find ways to upset your opponent's rhythm or to back your opponent off of you. One of the best ways to do that is just to be creative. When you look at a lot of people like Paulie Malignaggi, for that matter, he's not the heaviest handed. He was never a heavy-handed guy, but he was very creative in the ring. He was very fast-paced. And those are two character traits that Stephen Fulton also has. Very fast-paced, very creative, very high volume. Just because the reality is if he's throwing single shots, there's nothing to keep his opponent off of him. If he's just being a 1-2-3 fighter, there's nothing to keep his opponent off of him. But if he's being tricky and he's setting traps, well, then his opponent knows he can't just rush in there because he doesn't know what's waiting for him once he gets in there. Or if he's just throwing single shots, well, if he's throwing combinations, his opponent can't just rush in. I don't care how pillow-handed he might be. One of those might actually hit you. I remember it was Zab Judah who was talking about his fight with Floyd Mayweather. It's Andre Berto. Talking about his fight with Floyd Mayweather. That was Floyd Mayweather's 49th fight. And, once he finally retired and now he's doing exhibitions. But it was his last professional boxing bout. And Andre Berto said something that was interesting. He said, well, he doesn't hit very hard, but he's not a soft puncher either. He's very sharp with his punches. In other words, you can tell this man's he's spent his time in the gym wisely. He's a sharp puncher. Okay? Then he says, although he didn't hit that hard, I know I can't just leave myself out there because he's very fast and he can see my movements and he can catch me with one of those. And he says, all right, maybe one or two, no big deal. But he says, you know what? The next one of these might hurt, especially if I don't see it. And that's Stephen Fulton. Is he the heaviest handed guy in the world? No. But he's extremely fast and he's throwing in combinations. So although Inoue doesn't have to worry about a single shot, he does have to worry about the flurries. He does have to worry about the combinations, the punches and bunches. He needs to worry about that. That's going to be a huge factor in the fight, just because there's going to be a lot of firepower coming back at him. So it's an important thing. The speed of Stephen Fulton, the dude's just fast. Listen, there aren't many people who can throw a 5, 6, 7 punch combination and hit with all of them. Matter of fact, there's only a few guys that throughout can. Floyd Mayweather could do it back when he was Pretty Boy Floyd. Nassim Hamed could do it. Roy Jones obviously could do it. Sugar Ray Leonard could do it. Hector Macho Camacho, my favorite fighter, can do it. Who else? Muhammad Ali could do it. There's a few more, but you get the point that I'm making. These are exceptional fighters, and they're extremely gifted and also creative fighters, and that goes back to that creativity. So none of the guys that I mentioned were extremely heavy-handed people or anything like that, but they could hit you with multiple punches in multiple locations. So you need to be ready, and that's more than enough to back somebody off, especially a heavy-handed guy like Inoue. Let's see. Listen, it's one thing to throw. It's one thing to throw, 5, 6, 7 punches, but it's something else when that individual can land all of those. Roy Jones could land all of those. Sweet Pea could land all of those. Hector Camacho could land all of those. That's impressive. It's impressive. And again, that goes to his boxing mind, but it also goes to his footwork and his trickery. Because, okay, fine, maybe you could dodge something, but if I just get you in the right place, or I bait you into something, well, you're just susceptible to whatever I baited you to, and now you are where you are, and I have free reign to do whatever I want to do to you. So it still shows his boxing mind. It shows his speed. It shows a lot of things, because you got to be on point with Stephen Fulton. At no state in the fight can you be lacking. Can you be, I don't know, looking at your girlfriend in the crowd or whatever. None of those things you'll have the privilege of doing fighting Stephen Fulton. You'll be a very busy individual. Have your hands full. And like, honestly, Inoue's going to have to work for it. He's going to have to work for it. Like I said, Fulton's fast, but man, his footwork, ridiculous. He's a very busy fighter, as I've said. He's a busy fighter with his feet. He's also a busy fighter with his combinations. So Inoue's going to have his hands full. And I hope he's doing tons and tons and tons of miles every day for this fight, because he's going to need a cardio to match Stephen Fulton. Like I already said, he has a high, his pace is very high. His punch output is very high. So Stephen Fulton always has a lot of ways to win. Cardio can beat somebody in the ring. Cardio can beat you in the ring. When you have somebody who's throwing 100 punches around, it takes its toll on you. It really does, especially if he ain't slowing down no time soon, and you haven't touched him enough to slow him down, or touched him enough to where he needs to slow down because he doesn't want to get clipped coming in, just rushing in really quick. And Inoue's going to have his hands full. That's basically all I'm going to say about that when it comes to the pace. Elusiveness. He is a trickster in the ring. Very elusive. He's great legs, but also, like I said, the tricks that he does, just with his jabs and everything like that. You never really know where he's going to be. He has great head movement, but he's also slick with his body. He does his little Canelo thing. He might get into a position. You can only do this if you're really fast, period. That's it. And it takes a certain level of confidence within yourself to sit in a pocket and just roll with everything. Not moving your legs, just rolling with everything. Just rolling with everything because you found great foot positioning and you don't want to lose ground. Now, I do think that's a bit dangerous because Inoue can thump. So, I mean, but do I think that Stephen Fulton is creative enough to do it? Yes. Do I think he is slick enough to do it? Absolutely. And do I think he is daring enough to do it? Yes, I do. Let's see. You know, Stephen Fulton does something that, again, great fighters can do. They can use their legs to exploit guys. Sugar Ray Leonard uses legs a lot in his fights, especially the second Duran fight and also Marvin Hagler fight. His legs were the key factor in the fight. Pretty much all of Floyd Mayweather's fights, well, all of Money Mayweather's fights, the legs were a huge factor. The legs. Always a huge factor because it gets you out of trouble, but also you can see openings and you can truly exploit those openings. Plus, great footwork, you can get somebody off balance. You know, they're trying to follow you and you're herking and jerking and they think they know what you're doing and they really don't. You know, you're like literally 30 steps ahead of them. They can't follow you. They can't follow the cadence. And it can really confuse people and get them in a state where they're not ready to engage. They're not ready to engage because I was just in pursuit. Now I got to engage and then break off and pursue again. And Stephen Fulton's really good at that, breaking up the rhythm, breaking up the cadence. He can fight backing up, which is great because he's fighting Inoue. Inoue, it's hard. So it's a great thing that he can fight backing up because honestly, he's going to be doing a lot of it in the fight. I don't foresee Stephen Fulton being the aggressor in this fight. I don't foresee Stephen Fulton walking down Inoue at all. I don't. If he tries to walk down Inoue, I don't think this is going to be a very long fight if he tries to walk down Inoue. I just don't see that. I don't think it's smart. I don't think it's advisable. I'm pretty sure that is not their game plan to say, hey, you get in there and you walk him down and you show him we're from Philly. I don't think that's the game plan. That would not be wise. And I definitely wouldn't be banking on that. But on top of that, Inoue, like I just said, heavy-handed, high knockout ratio, and Inoue is fearless. If he would dare to walk Inoue down, guess what? He would meet him because Inoue is not getting back down. That's just not his mentality. He ain't gonna do that. Inoue is a true puncher, not just physically. He's a true puncher mentally. Mental. Try telling Triple G you're gonna walk him down. Good luck. Good luck. Try telling Deontay Wilder you're gonna walk him down. Good luck. Try telling Jermell Charlo you're gonna walk him down. Good luck. Try telling somebody like a Maidana you're gonna walk him down. Miguel Cotto, you're gonna walk him down. That is not happening. That ain't happening. I'm sorry. Manny Pacquiao, you ain't gonna walk him down. Trust me. He's gonna do everything within his power to regain ground. That's just how it is. Let's see. Now, this section of the video, I do my pros, I gotta do my cons. So I always say, what worries me about Stephen Fulton. I did one for Inoue, and if you have not seen that video, please take the time and go check that out. It's a really good video, and I think it gives a lot of insight to this up-and-coming bout between him and Stephen Fulton. So what worries me about Fulton fighting Inoue? Well, let's see. Because of his movement, all his movement and footwork, that takes a lot of energy. Okay, listen, Stephen Fulton is not a slacky in there. When he's in the ring, he's working. When he's not throwing, he's still working. He's constantly working on something. He's either working in something or he's working on something, but he is constantly working. The wheel is never completely stopped. Now, because of that, it takes its toll. I'm not saying he completely dips off, but Stephen Fulton does get visibly slower after like round 6 because of all that movement. That's a lot of footwork. That's a lot of combinations. That's a lot of punching. That's a lot of busyness. He does visibly get slower as the rounds go on. Inoue doesn't have that problem because Inoue doesn't throw 5 and 6 punches at a time. And you're not going to see 5 and 6 punches from Inoue until you're hurt, until he smells blood, until you are bleeding or broken in some way, shape, or form, hurt, or in a capacity where you cannot protect yourself. He's not going to do that. That's just not who he is. Plus, he's a puncher. He knows 1 of mine equals 4 or 5 of yours. So I don't need to hit you 30 times. I just need to hit you precisely 1 time. And then I can follow that up later on in this round. That's all he knows. That's what he knows, and that's how he operates. And that can be very detrimental to Stephen Fulton, because Inoue is not somebody you want to be, getting sluggish on. It's not going to work in your favor. You're only going to give him the added motivation to press in and become more aggressive, and to start to really impose himself in the ring. Now, here's something. I don't know what it is in the water in Philly, where every Philly fighter has this mean streak and they're just overly aggressive for no reason, and everything just turns into a brawl. Stephen Fulton is no different. I'm not saying he does it every fight, but it's there. And one thing, if you're not familiar with the channel, I do look at the psychology of a lot of things and a lot of fighters, and it's there. Like if you hit him, if you get, especially if you get a clean shot, like a hard, clean shot on him, oh, he wants that back, and he wants it back badly, and he'll throw everything out the window just so he can get that back, and I haven't seen not one Philly fighter who doesn't have that. I don't know what's going on in those gyms. I don't know what these guys are drinking, but they are all like super alpha mailed up in like those Philly gyms. And that's something that worries me, because that mean streak can lead him into something that's not going to be good for him. He's the knockout artist, not you. Keep your composure, stay focused on what's ahead of you, and keep your eyes on the game plan. Keep your eyes on what got you to the dance. Simple. Let's see. That also annoys me for another reason, is because we all know you can box. I like one thing I always admired about Roy Jones and Floyd Mayweather. Nothing really got under their skin, especially Floyd. It's like, all right, well, when in doubt, I'm gonna box even better. Most guys are like, no, forget that. We're scrapping now. But I'm trying to think. Kell Brook is one of those guys who will just throw everything out the window. No. We're scrapping now. Earl Spence. No. We're scrapping now. Terrence Bud Crawford. No. We're scrapping now. We're scrapping now. See, we were boxing, but you took it a little too far. That punch was a little too hard. It was a little too intentional. So we fighting now. You look at somebody like a Floyd Mayweather, it's like, all right, that hurt. Well, I'm going to do my best for that not to happen again. So I was boxing on a level of 7. Now I'm going to box on a level of 9. That ain't going to happen again. Which you should do, especially if you're a pure boxer. And if you're a wizard in the ring like Stephen Fulton, because you're not a killer in the ring. You're just not. So stick to what got you to the dance. Let's see. And we will be wrapping up soon. But let's see. The last big thing that worries me about Stephen Fulton is, deep down inside, Stephen Fulton just wants to be a knockout artist, and he's not. You're not that. Listen, we all have our gifts in life. We do. We all have our gifts. And we all have those things. Listen, Deontay Wilder would love to be a great boxer, but he's been blessed with heavy hands that can send you to the moon. But is he a slick boxer? No, absolutely not. But he can send you to the moon. Listen, we got to play with the gifts that we were given. Okay? You are not a knockout artist. This is not the fight, and this is certainly not the opponent for you to get in there thinking, well, I'm going to make a highlight reel knockout tonight. No, you are not. I'm not saying you cannot, but I don't think this is the person to try to test that theory with. I'll say it like that. Inoue has a high threshold for pain, and he can thump. The last thing you want to do is try to get yourself a little highlight reel of you knocking him out. I'm not saying it can't happen. You are prize fighters, and but at the same time, You got to be smart. And like I always say, just use what got you to the dance. Your great boxing skills, your elusiveness got you to the dance. Your speed got you to the dance. Your combinations got you to the dance. Your creativity and trickery got you to the dance. Don't forget what got you to the dance. Don't forget that. And I think you can be very successful in this fight. If he does what he does well and what he does naturally and what he is naturally gifted at, the things I just listed off, I truly believe he could be successful in this fight. And that being said, that is the conclusion of my fight breakdown for Stephen Fulton versus Inoue. As always, please like, please share, please subscribe to this channel.